I'm David Kelley, President and CEO of Chakana Copper. We just released our initial resource estimate on the Soledad Project in Peru. It's a very exciting milestone for us to reach. We have very high-grade breccias that start at surface, and this really creates a glimpse of what this asset could be like with aggressive additional exploration, and we think it creates a foundation that we can build exceptional growth in the company.
David, good to see you again. I haven't seen you since September. I wanted to get back to you because we're talking about resource due out, and it's come out. You must be pleased.
Yeah, well, we worked really hard to get that resource. We've been working towards it for 4 years, really. The initial programs in 2017 and 18 were exploratory in nature, trying to understand these breccias. We had very high grade within these breccias and understanding the shapes and the morphologies and whether or not these breccia pipes could be mined. Those are all questions that we had early on. And then as we began to advance our understanding and more drilling and more surface exploration and geophysics, we started to really see the footprint of the system. It's enormous. The size of the tourmaline breccia pipe field is, it is 12 square kilometers, and that's a huge area within which to explore. So we're really excited about that. This creates a platform for our investors to understand what we've been doing and what the potential of these breccia pipes can be.
Okay, and I want to come on to those. Okay, because like you say, it's a big area. You've talking about 16 targets, and you've given information out on 7, and we will get into it, I promise. I need to talk to you about Peru first, okay? Because Peru had a tricky year last year, elections, etc. Some very negative things being said out there in the press about companies' abilities to mine in country. Is it investable?
Well, I absolutely think it is. And I think one of the best measures to look at is just look at the production history for Peru. We went back and looked at copper production. That's the metal of interest for us, along with precious metals, of course. But, copper production has been steady and increasing in Peru. And we plotted, the past presidents. There have been 7 presidents in the last 13 years. And there has been no effect on the output, which I think is the best measure of mining in Peru. So, we don't think that anything's going to change as a result of the current administration, because nothing has changed as a result of the past administrations. There's a lot of headlines, sensational stories. There have been protests and blockages, and there have been temporary shutdowns. But that's always been the case in Peru. That's nothing really different in my mind. So I'm still very bullish on Peru. I think it's the place to be. Most of the major global mining companies are already in and operating in Peru, and I don't expect that's going to change.
But here's the thing: it's like, how are things being affected on the ground? Like, take your team for instance. Are your team on the ground able to function as normal, or have there been delays which you didn't factor in? I mean, that's the real test of this: is what's happening on the ground.
There has been nothing that has been different in the past year compared to the past 4 years. We're fortunate to be in an area where mining has been ongoing for a very long time. The district we're in has mining going back 100 years. So the local communities, they understand mining. We invest a lot in our ESG program. We're very proud of that. And we've have tremendous support from the local communities, and we provide a lot of support to them. It's a win-win situation for us. My biggest complaint about Peru has always been just the bureaucratic process of doing business there, and that's even improved in my mind. COVID has taught people that they can deal with electronic documents, they can have meetings that are remote, and business goes ahead. We had a meeting with the ministry on December 28th this year. They're open for business, and we consistently are engaging with them. So there has been no change in my mind with respect to how business is done, or how work gets done, and how things advance. We're still moving ahead with our plans. We're permitting on the south side of the project, and that's going really well. So I expect that to continue.
So, okay, again, I just want to stick with this for a bit because I need to know that the country is investable. I need to know that you're investable. So do you think, you talk about the last 4 years have been the same, right? But on you know, in the sense that, is it the same as doing business elsewhere? Can you move at the same speed? Are you on track? Do you feel that you're on track with where you expected to be?
Well, in my opinion, yes. We've advanced the project absolutely to the point where we want it to be. I think we're in a position of strength now. We have a resource. We understand the significance of these breccia pipes. We have a huge number of very high quality targets to test. So I think we're right on target where we want to be. I think Peru is always going to be a mining country. The geology is spectacular in terms of new discoveries and the potential there, and it's a mining country. I think at the end of the day, you're going to find that all of this rhetoric about Castillo and the administration and things changing, it's not going to change dramatically.
Right. Okay. So in terms of like the permitting process in country, the administration process, you think is possibly even slightly improving. But as far as you're concerned, you can do business in country. Nothing that you've seen so far says you can't. Is that it? Simple as that?
Absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
That's exactly our view.
Okay. Well, let's I guess keep a watching brief on that. Now, talk to me about this resource. Okay. What does it say? And more importantly, what does it mean?
Yeah, so I think the best way to look at it is the resource provides a glimpse of what this project can be. Multiple high-grade breccia pipes starting at surface. The breccia pipes are all open at depth right now. So the upside potential is enormous. We have high grade. We've demonstrated that. We've also demonstrated that the resources fit in and optimized starter pits on the top of breccia pipes, which is a great finding. With the topography we have there, you can do high wall cuts and take out the top part of the breccia pipes. And then you've got underground resources beyond that. And, the grade is high. The grade's almost the same in the open cut resources as it is in the underground resources. And, our view is that those grades are supportive of underground mining. So that's really the first thing. I think the other thing is to look at the metal mix. It's about 50% copper and 50% precious metals. So again, this is a great project for getting exposure not only to copper, but also to precious metals. The precious metal costs can offset your mining costs of the copper. So, it has a lot of great attributes to it, I think. But the most important thing is it's a demonstration of concept. The resource is telling us that these breccia pipes are very attractive targets from a grade perspective, from a continuity perspective. The mineralization within the breccia pipes is very predictable. It does have high variability in terms of going from extreme ranges of grade down to very strong grades, but the continuity is there. If you look at the distribution of mineralization within breccia pipe 1, essentially the entire breccia pipe is mineralized, and that's a great feature to have.
But okay, but it is a bit confusing. Okay, breccia pipes is not some normal mining for most people, most investors. Okay, so I want to kind of get into help us with this. So we're talking about these vertical mineralizations. Let's talk. I see the grades there. It's copper, it's gold or precious metals. Great, but can you give it to us in either copper equivalent terms or gold equivalent terms, so we actually understand the level of grading?
Yeah, so let's just start with the raw metal. The grade of copper, gold, and silver, that equates to in the 6.7 million tons. That equates to about 190,000 ounces of gold, 11.7 million ounces of silver, and 130 million pounds of copper. Those are just the straight numbers. If you apply a copper equivalent or gold equivalent number and apply some reasonable recoveries to those, it works out to be about 620,000 ounces of gold equivalent, or 270 million pounds of copper equivalent.
Right. Okay. And we're talking. So is that collectively in the inferred resource number that you come out with, right? So
Yeah,
right. So that's
right.
across a number of these Breccia pipes.
Right.
Right. How many? 7 was it?
7 Breccia pipes. Yeah.
Right. So you need a bunch more of those to kind of come good for you. So a bit more drilling.
Yeah, that's right. I think the other thing we've learned is you never know what you're going to end up with until you do the work, right? So we have these surface outcropping Breccia pipes. Some of them look small to begin with, and you start drilling them and they get bigger. Some of them look small and they stay small. They might have very high grades, but they don't blow out like we see in the other pipes. There are 3 breccias in the resource that are far and away, the prize here. Breccia 1 has about 2.6 million tons in inferred resource. Breccia 5 has about 1.6 million tons, and Huancarama has about 1.5. So the majority of the resource we just put out sits in those 3 Breccia pipes. And for us, so the other important learning is, okay, let's go find more of these big Breccia pipes. These are the ones that contain the metals. These are the ones that have excellent grades. And these are the ones that, if we can go out and preferentially start discovering the bigger Breccia pipes rather than just all the Breccia pipes, then the resources are going to get better with time. Our discovery rate is very high. If we can improve the quality of the discoveries within our discovery rate, then this is just going to keep getting better. So imagine us going out and testing 20 new targets, finding, say, 8 to 10 new Breccia pipes, and those Breccia pipes being more like Breccia 1, Breccia 5, and Huancarama, then this thing is going to scale up very nicely.
It is. And again, just trying to help people get a picture in their mind about how you go about it, because you talk about these vertical mineralizations, these Breccia pipes. How does it work? Because you're going to need to finance this at some point. If you're going to go after, some the mineralization in there, you're going to need to finance it, and you intend to. So the cost of doing so is what typically, because it feels like, right, there's Breccia pipe number 1, let's go for that. Number 2, we need to move everything over to Breccia pipe number 2, move everything over to Breccia pipe number 3. Is it quite an expensive process?
Well, the other part of this is, how much have we drilled in the past and how much have we gotten for that, right? We've drilled 60,000 meters. We have 7 Breccia pipes in an inferred resource. We have 6.7 million tons, and we have 620,000 gold equivalent ounces. So, those are all metrics, and they're very useful. My job, of course, is to go out and find out how we can be better at every stage of the game. How can we be better at finding the next round of targets? How can we be better at targeting and testing those? And we now know that we can get away with as little as 500 meters to test these targets. Because they're vertically extensive, you don't really need to drill deep initially. You just need to find the top of the Breccia pipe. They go vertically, right? We know we can come back and drill deeper, but we don't need to do that originally to test the target. So going forward, we're going to be more efficient with the target testing, 500 meters per target on average. Some targets may be a little bit more complicated, more multiple Breccias, that type of thing. They may take more, and some targets may take less. Now, going forward too, on the resource estimate, we've gone back and looked at how much drilling is needed to get just to that initial inferred resource category, and that number is much lower than we've drilled in the past as well. We think on, in exceptional situation where it's really simple and straightforward, we can get away with as little as 2,000 or 3,000 meters of drilling to get an inferred resource in the top 200 or 300 meters, or as much as 4,000 or 5,000 meters. So we've got some metrics around that. And again, it's much more efficient than we've done in the past. That's the kind of discipline we're going to be bringing to our future exploration at Soledad.
Right. So you learned a lot. The future drilling will be more efficient and therefore cheaper. And you are just going to, shallow drilling on identifying these breccias that come to surface here, 500 meters. Great. I understand that. But to what end here? Because do you just keep drilling and finding, hitting targets, doing this 500 meter drilling and build this thing out to the point where you feel that you can get a decent resource and then flip it on? or do you do enough to get people interested enough to finance you to start some kind of revenue process whilst continuing to drill and identify breccias, further into the future? I mean, how do you play this thing? How do you play the breccia game?
Yeah, and I think right now we're in a position to do both. Gold Fields is our biggest shareholder, and they want to see scale. They like these breccia pipes. The grade is excellent. The location is outstanding. They're already in Peru. They've got a strong drive to find another producing asset, to identify another producing asset in Peru for them beyond their Cerro Corona mine. So we want to run as well. We want to test as many targets. We want to see how big this thing could be. But at the same time, there's some very logical things to do with metallurgy, with engineering studies, with underground permitting and that type of thing. And those are items that need to be advanced as well. I think it's a little bit too early to put all your eggs in one basket, and I don't think we need to. I think we can run hard on both strategies. We can advance the project in a number of significant ways. And as we're working on the permit for the south side of the project. It's very advanced. And that brings on a whole nother list of targets, very high quality targets, including some different, much larger targets down there. That's really exciting too. And we see that unfolding in 2023.
But okay, well, we're talking eggs in baskets. Gold Fields are a big shareholder here, and that's a problem, I think, for you guys, in the sense that people feel that they're just going to step up, take this thing over for cheap, and they're not going to really see some upside. That's a real worry for people. So, does that define the way that you play this? Because if you do the drill game, you can go and keep raising money as long as you keep delivering the sorts of things, the results that you say we've seen here and before last year. You can go and raise some money, and hopefully Gold Fields don't follow their money, and we get a wider distribution of the share capital and it's like the shares in the market. Because otherwise, that's always going to be there. That's going to be the shadow, looming and sitting on that weight on your shoulders, that you're not going to get a fair chance for growth or share price appreciation and growth. So what is your thinking about fixing that problem?
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of truth to that, Matthew. I think there is a perception out there that Gold Fields has a lock on this asset, and certainly they have a very strong position. They're a 20% shareholder. They're very involved in the project. They bring a lot of support to us and that type of thing. Contractually, they have no right. Their right is to maintain their shareholding position or their equity position in future financings. There's no right on the asset, but I think there's a perception out there. One of the things I think about when I get asked that question is I think about Doug Silver and our chairman, and there's probably no better person in the industry that is able to create competitive tension and with any deal, and Doug has done over 300 deals in the industry, in every conceivable, imaginative way. He's been involved in these types of deals, and I know that we have a product, we have a very attractive project, and we have the people on the board, including John Black, that have been very, very successful in the commercial side of the business. And we just have to keep delivering results. And don't forget that we have Barrick on the south side of the project too. They're the underlying shareholder there. So we have the attention of the first and the seventh largest gold producers in the world and what we're doing. And I think we're doing really good work, and I think we have people's attention.
Well, the share price says you don't, and the market cap says you don't have the right people, i.e. the market. You need the market to work harder for you, right? Because it's all well and good at having these like blue chip brands sitting on the sideline waiting for you to do the hard work and then step in and pick you up cheap. But you need the market to go, look, hey guys, we've done some, for you to say to the market, hey, we've done some drilling. Look at the numbers. The grades are really good. The grades are super. We're going to keep doing a lot more of this, build up the potential, resource size. But for them to notice you, and you're going to have to be vocal, or Doug's going to have to be vocal about what the plan is, because it's all well and good saying I've got options, I've got experience, but you got to say in this specific instance, we've got a plan. Here's what it is. Here's what, and plus here's what we're going to be doing this year. And by the way, here's how we finance it. Here's how we finance this thing, because that's the other thing looming over you as well. It's like, how do you finance this? Maybe deal with that.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of options. And again, this is where Doug's, experience comes into play. There's a lot of different options for financing in our position. We have a resource now. Capital markets are competitive. We have a product, and, we are going to evaluate all the options that are out there, and we will make the decision that's in the best interest of our shareholders. We have that commitment to them. We're shareholders ourselves. And, we want the best outcome for this project. And, we're working on that. And, I'm absolutely confident that, this is going to work out. And, we're going to have a project that's going to be, very exciting to follow in this year. Now that we've shown what these Breccia pipes can deliver, and we go out and we start tagging into other Breccias, testing targets. Okay, the market should be able to say, okay, well, that one, those grades kind of look like Breccia 1. That one kind of looks like Juan Carama. That could be another Breccia 5. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be, testing these targets and saying, okay, well, that's another one. And, put it on the list. It's in the inventory. It needs to be drilled out. Let's move on. And so I think now that we've got some metrics behind us, we can use those metrics for forecasting the future. Yeah,
it's a really good starting point, and it's really good data points. But to put it in terms that the market understands, there's a lot more gold investors out there than most other categories. So in gold ounces terms, most gold companies need to hit this 2 million ounce number. Right, it used to be 1 million. I think it's like 2 million now to really get noticed by the marketplace in terms of a resource size. So how much more money is it going to take you to get that kind of quantum of gold ounce equivalent? And how long will that take you based on what you've seen so far?
Yeah. So, if you just take the 620,000 ounces that we currently have, gold equivalent ounces, and you quadruple that, obviously, that gets you over that 2 million ounce hurdle. And what does that mean? Okay, well, that means, and I've always said this, you double the number of pipes it took to get you to this point, and then you double that with the depth extension, because all the pipes are open. We can go back tomorrow and start drilling on Breccia 1 again at depth and follow the Breccia pipe at depth. We can do the same on Breccia 5. We can do the same at Juan Carama. So if you can double the depth extent and you can double the number of pipes, that's a 4x. Okay, that's only adding 7 Breccia pipes out of the 110 targets that we have. We've tested 16 of those. So can we get another 7 Breccia pipes? And remember, we're focusing on the bigger Breccia pipes. So that should be even, if we can find the bigger Breccia pipes, then doubling the number of, if we had 7 Breccia pipes like Juan Carama, Breccia 1, Breccia 5, we've exceeded the initial resource. We've more than doubled it. And then you still, potentially would have the depth extent to that. So I'm very confident we're going to get there. I do see this as a multi-million ounce potential project in gold equivalent. I still think that it's got the footprint of a system that could be a tier 1 asset. And, quite frankly, that's why Gold Fields is there. They see that potential too. So, this is a story that's going to start unfolding much more rapidly now that we've done all of this work. We understand, how these things stack up. This project is going to start advancing on a much faster pace.
Fantastic. I'm keen to get to the point where you're much clearer with the market about what those options are with the gold field. I'm going to call it an overhang because it kind of is in the minds of retail investors. Okay. I'm also keen to get to the point where you are able to announce the type of financing that you're looking for and how that cash is being allocated. I'm feeling let's get after small Breccia pipes, because if we can just do the same again and then go deeper, you've got yourself more than the equivalent of a 2 million ounce gold equivalent project there. That's a really good start to the day, quite frankly. So can you give me timing on that sort of guidance that you're going to start feeding into the market yet?
Well, we'll get the financing dealt with this first quarter. Our plan to start drilling is mid-April, and the plan for 2022 is to drill test 20 targets, 20 brand new targets that we haven't touched yet. Those will all be on the north side where we're fully permitted. There's nothing holding us back from doing that. We're in the hardest part of the rainy season right now. That starts to decline in February, March. And April is a good time to get out there and start the drilling program. We're talking 10,000 meters of drilling, 500 meters per target, 20 targets tested. And our goal is to have 8 or 10 new discoveries by the end of 2022 that we can point to and say these are new discoveries, just like we did last year with Paloma East, Paloma West, Huancarama. Let's put those in the hopper, and let's those need to be drilled out with future drilling. We want to advance, our knowledge of the deposit in terms of the mineralogy, the metallurgy, initiating engineering studies and that type of thing. And as you know, we've been working very hard on the permit on the south side. That's advancing nicely. And, we expect to have that permit this year. As soon as we have that permit, we will be able to move forward with drill testing targets. But that just in terms of planning and the number of targets testing, we see 20 targets tested on the north side this year, and then 20 targets tested on the south side in 2023. And at that point, this project is going to move forward with, those discoveries. There will be drill outs to be done. And, the project, the potential of the project at that point will be dramatically different than it is right now, in my opinion, because I know that we can continue discovering like we have. We've got grade, we've got targets, and we have the real estate to go out and execute that.
Brilliant. And so, I'm glad you brought up the permit component there. Are there any other permits or any other hurdles that would stop you from being able to start drilling in April?
No, absolutely not. Right now, no, there's nothing holding us back. With the permits are in hand. It's all on the north side where we've been drilling. We're just going to go to new places that we haven't drilled yet. So, of which there are many, as you know.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so that all sounds good. So, funding Q1. We'll wait to hear what that looks like and the cost of that money. And then it's drill, more of the same, please. David, appreciate your time today. Thanks for coming back on. See you soon.
Thank you, Matthew. It's always great to give you an update, and let's plan on doing that regularly throughout the year. It's going to be a very, very exciting year for us. I think the dinner table's set. And it's a question of let's serve up roast beef, because I think that's what everyone wants to see.